Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Basic Black Trading Program. We're going to review the stock market here, and what we're looking at here is the SPY representing the S&P 500. And before we get into that, I want to thank my biggest sponsor, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who came here to save the world. So let's get into it. So here we go. We got the S&P here. And you can see we just marched up since last summer in April. The markets just keep going up and up and up. We had a little dip here in November. And we are holding these highs up here. And you can see the line here. That's probably seems to be support possibly. The market continues to go up. And it's interesting. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And let's check out the NASDAQ. Here's what's that? We got the QQQ here. And again, we got a little bit more dips here. The NASDAQ is doing a little weaker than the SPY right now. You know, you have to consider that AI that we're in. Could be a bubble, maybe not. As Michael Berry said, he was going to short it. He thought we were in a bubble, and then he pulled out of his short. So there we go. We got some dips here. 1120. It's probably when Michael Berry started to rip back, and he just canceled his short and said his metrics are not in timing with the current fundamentals. So there's the market. It is ripping still and holding up. And what's going on with that? Let's take a look, by the way. WTI crude oil is down to 59.27, and it actually dropped pretty low back about not too long ago. Yeah, we went down to where we are. Here we go. Oil, we made it down to $55 per barrel for WTI, and then it took off and went up to 62 bucks, and now it's starting to come back down. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what's going on. We got the 10-year yield here at 4.17, pretty stable. We got the Dixie here, the relative strength of the dollar compared to other dollars is at 99.36. Again, that's been very stable. So let's get back into it. So here we are, the QQQ, and it's holding up. We're not sure what's going to go on here, but let's check out some other ones like the Magnificent Seven, NVIDIA. It reached a high in October. It's pulled back, and it's kind of holding this range here around 187. And we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what's going on. We got Meta. Meta has pulled back a lot, as you can see here. Let's zoom back a little bit and see what's going on. So yeah, Meta seems to have a support of a roughly 585. As you can see, and then pulled up to 670. Now it's come back to 620. Amazon's doing pretty good. They broke their all-time high right here at their 254. It's the high. The old high was around 241. So we zoom back, you can see. So Amazon's doing okay. They're on the way to marching up. Tesla, nice big dips down here in March and April of last year. And it's been marching all the way back up. They got a lot of news coming out with their, FSD. And we'll have to keep an eye on that. Let's check Microsoft. Microsoft hit an all-time high of 541. Since then, it's been pulling back. You would assume there's got to be some profit taking going on. Apple reached an all-time high here of 286. Right now we're at 258, and it's still holding up. That's pretty interesting. Google. Okay, Google has made an all-new high just recently, like yesterday, of 340. What's that? 336. Pulled back to 333. Kind of interesting. They're working on their AI and things like that. Let's take a look at some others. CoreWeave. Well, they've been pulling back. It was at 183. Now they're down. We have 183, and it's down to now $95. It's a big pullback, and you can see where they started down here at just like $37, shot right up to 183. It's been pulling back ever since. Trying to make a rebound here, and we'll have to see what happens. Let's take a look at some other ones here. AMD. AMD had a really nice bounce from these lows of $78. That was back in April. And it's been marching right up and straight up. And now we're ending at 227, but it did make it to $264 per share. Not bad. Let's see. UPS. They took some big hits here, but they're slowly coming back up. But they do have a nice dividend of around 7%. And that's interesting. Let's take a look at some other ones here. What have we got? JP Morgan. They are at, well, they just hit an all-time high of 334. Now they're at 309. And they're kicking. GM's doing pretty well. $85 all-time high, and then they pulled back to $80 right now. As you can see, back in April, they were down to $42. It's pretty interesting. Now, here's one we need to take a look at. Intel. Intel was hurting. I mean, they're down to $18, and now they're up to $48. I predict resistance is going to be around $50. But we'll have to see, because we got, the government is investing in them. If there's resistance, it's going to be up here around $50. No doubt about it. But it was definitely a nice trade to get into. But, who's to really foresee what's going on? And another thing I want to, silver. Silver is just ripping, folks. We're up to 84.56 as a high. Pulled back a little bit today to $83. But look at that. Look at that chart. That is amazing. Back in the beginning of 25, it was $26. So that is a real big hit. Again, silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet. And it's starting to really creep up now. So that would have been a nice trade for anybody who went in on that. I know some people who bought it around $20. And I fortunately did not get into that one. But there it is. Let's look at Oxy oil. It went down as low as $38. Right now it's at 43. So we zoom back a little bit more. You can see where the charts look like. It was up to 66, but it's on its way down as the oil continues to drop, and that's pretty interesting. And let's see what this is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is doing pretty well. $72 is an all-time high. They're down to $70 right now. You zoom back, and it had a pretty good hit. It hit down here to $48, and now it's up to 70. It's pretty impressive. Let's take a look at Verizon. Verizon's just kind of hanging out here in a straight line, not really doing much. Let's take a look at AT&T. AT&T had a really nice run. Down there back in, October of 23, it was only $12. And it went up to $28.97. But it's still kind of holding strong. It's holding its place, down to 23 right now. But it did make it to 28. It's been coming down ever since. And anything else we want to take a look at? Johnson & Johnson's been on a great run. Look at that, all new high today, 219. Let's go to the a weekly chart here and see what that really looks like. Yeah, they got an all-time high here. Let's go to monthly. Look at that. They've just been ripping. Johnson & Johnson. So that's pretty interesting. Let's take a look at ARM. Again, AI-related stock, software-driven, and it's at the weekly chart. That's what it looks like from the beginning. Started out at around 58 bucks, made it to 181. Now it's at 105. Let's go back to the daily chart here. And anything else we'll take a look? Somebody asked me about Zillow. Zillow has been coming down. You know, they took some big hits, you know, about buying real estate, people's homes, and it just kept going up, and now it's coming back down. And there's something else. Let's take a look at, you know, why don't we have Palantir in here? PLTR, Palantir. Palantir now is in the shipbuilding business. They're going to use their AI infrastructure software to help build ships more efficiently. And can you believe they hit 207? This was a stock that was at 6 bucks not that long ago. Okay, here we go. Beginning of 23, it was $6. Look at that chart, from 6 bucks to $200. Wow, that's impressive. TSM, chip maker, and they are soaring. 341, in fact, they hit that high. Let's see, was that today? Yes, they hit a high today. It's amazing. Down here, they pulled back at 277 to 341. Cleveland Steel, who they have not been doing too well. They were back here in May of 25. They were down to $5.60. They're up to $14.30, and kind of just, you know, U.S. Steel was sold to that Japan company. Forget the name of it offhand. And let's see, anything else we want to talk about here? Target. Target's doing pretty good. 111. They hit that high today. Down here, you could have bought it for $84. So pretty interesting. So what's going on with this here? Boeing, you know, they took a big hit, especially when that Max, Airbus Max was, you know, had all these problems. But they're slowly coming back, and they're making it. They're slowly coming back. Pfizer, they're kind of just hanging around here, around this $25, $20.50, $25.50 range. This is a nice little dip buy down here at $20 back in April. But last April, everything was dropping when Trump implemented the tariffs. So that's pretty much what's going on right now. See what anything else here we can look at? Let's see. Open door. Not too much. What else we got here? That's probably about it. So you see a little under there. Utilities. So that's it for the markets. There's not a lot going on. Things are kind of going sideways. We're up one day, down next day. We'll have to see what's going on. Keep our eyes on these markets. But personally, I would like to wait for some type of correction. I feel like we need one. You know, I heard rumors of a 20% correction this year, but again, they're just rumors. Bank of America has actually did a terrific rebound. Here we'll go to the weekly chart. This was a stock that was down to $9. Well, that was, wait a minute, sorry. Back at the end of 23, that thing was down to 24 bucks. And it's just been climbing ever since. But then, again, like last March and April, dropped to 34. But we're up to 56 bucks as a high and $52 right now. Not bad. So Bank of America, they made a nice rebound. So that's about it for right now. We'll have to keep an eye on the markets. Let's get back to the top 7 here. We'll hit the SPY. What's going to go on with the SPY? As you can see, the SPY's doing pretty good versus the QQQ. The Qs are kind of hanging up around here, around 621. Not sure what they want to do. The SPY is slowly going up, a little stronger than the triple Qs. Look again down here. Last April, you could have got the SPY at 500 bucks. Now it's 692. So that's where we're in the markets right now. And I appreciate you all watching. If you can give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. And we will keep you posted with future updates. And thank you for watching.